Welcome back to the 10th episode of Building Your Commons in Minecraft, where I recreated 5 more real-life locations suggested by you. As a refresher, this is for the Build the Earth project, where we are recreating the entire planet in Minecraft. This first build was my first ever on 1.20 through the BTE Venice server. It was originally suggested by Oderzo, who I built it with. This is a supermarket called Coop, a well-known Italian chain. Despite being on 1.20, this was a fairly difficult building to do. The street view is somewhat limited, which made it difficult to detail some aspects, especially the roof. While Venice does have 3D view, this roof was one of the worst I have ever had to do in BTE. There's a meme that there are no BTE buildings in Venice with roofs, and this made me understand why. It was extremely complex with a series of terraces, windows, and overall different sections. I mostly worked on the roof while Oderzo did the facades, and it took over 4 hours to build the end. The second build was the first of 3 restaurants in this video, and one of 2 that I actually went to in real life. This was a Shake Shack in San Diego. Long story behind this one. I flew home to California in September of 2022 with my now ex-girlfriend to see a couple of my church friends get married, and we flew back with my brother the day afterwards. Unfortunately, we had a mechanical problem when flying from Sacramento to our layover in San Diego, so we had to turn back after 30 minutes and then boarded another plane. By the time we got to San Diego, no more flights were going to Nashville until the next morning, so we had to get our stuff and go downtown and stay at a Motel 6 for the night, and we ate at this Shake Shack. It was expensive, but we did get it all refunded from the airline, so that was helpful. You will see the Motel 6 in another video, as I have already built it at this point. Anyway, for the actual building process, it took a little over 2 hours to do, and I built it with King Crafterino, a native San Diego builder. The data here is pretty good since it's such a major city, so none of that was a problem. It is just a detailed little area, so that's why it took a while. Next up was a specific build suggestion, Jansen's Drive-In in Chicago. This is a 60s diner which is still running today, which has a pretty cool design. I did this with Beryl, a fellow staff member who is actually from Illinois. Despite the small size of this building, it took nearly 3 hours to recreate, with a lot of intricate details such as the middle section of roof and the windows. One of the most fun aspects to do was the big neon sign out front, though there are unfortunately no neon lights in Minecraft, so we did the best we could with heads and other blocks. The last restaurant was this Bojangles in Knoxville, Tennessee. I made it with Uwanium, or Rain, who was only a builder at the time but is now an admin. She is now working on a much larger area in Knoxville, having done some more of the surrounding area near this restaurant as well. If I recall correctly, I went here back in 2021, I think on the way to Raleigh, North Carolina for a weekend trip. Anywho, the building itself turned out pretty well, especially with the arches, though the more tedious part was doing the surroundings. Overall, the build took about 4 hours, with about half of that being the building itself. We had to terraform the area somewhat due to a wall which goes around the outside, though we did texture it quite nicely. I'm definitely looking forward to this area being expanded. The final build was a Shell gas station in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I did this with builder Lean Man, who normally works in Baton Rouge but chose this specific build in Lake Charles when I suggested collabing there. What was really unexpected was the perfect angle on this building. Most buildings in BTE are angled due to the projection we use, but Lake Charles is at a pretty straight angle, and this shell was perfectly 45 degrees, which was nice. You might not expect it, but the data here was actually pretty helpful, both 3D and Street View. We took about 3 hours to build this. One pretty nice feature that Lean Man added was the banner pattern for the shell logo, and I gotta say, he's a pretty good builder. Thanks for watching. If you want to see a Denny's I built which happens to have a windmill, check out that video here and make sure to subscribe to see more Build the Earth content.